Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and am I the arsehole as well? Of course. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. It really does help out the channel. I know I say it every single time, but I can never express of a difference you really do make by doing those things. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, I was sent a link to this post saying that, it's a bit of a classic on Am I the Arsehole, and I'd never seen this one yet. Unbelievable, right? So it's called Am I the Arsehole for losing my temper at sister-in-law after she ruined the meal I made? And it's from Pasta Sister-in-law. My sister-in-law, Ashley, is, for a lack of a nicer word, obnoxious. She constantly does whatever she wants, even when you ask her not to. She thinks she's right above everyone else, even when she's dead wrong. And she's just got this very stereotypical baby sister attitude where she acts like she can do whatever she wants and nobody is allowed to be mad at her because she's the baby. Yes, that's something she regularly says. My husband says she's the youngest of their family, so her acting that way is normal. But I pointed out, I'm the youngest of my family and I've never acted that way. I don't like sister-in-law, but I've been polite and kept a peaceful relationship for my husband's sake. Until today. Today was the first time since 2019 that my husband or I have been able to see our small friend group in person. We all got our shots 2 months ago and decided to meet up finally for dinner. I cooked while our friends either pitched in ingredients, made appetizers or brought wine. I made pasta ravioli by hand, which was hard. I made enough for me, Hubs and our friends, but after they arrived and we all caught up while I was finishing the food, sister-in-law showed up. She let herself in and greeted everyone happily. They know her and said hi, but I subtly asked Hubs what she was doing here. Turns out he mentioned the gathering to her and guessed she assumed she was invited. I told him to tell her to leave because she can't just invite herself like this. He said that would be humiliating for her and asked if she could stay. I was annoyed but agreed. Things were fine at the start. I had a few sips of wine to relax and was about to plate everyone's food at the kitchen island and bring it out to them, but forgot Parmesan, so went to get it. I heard sister-in-law say she'd help bring the food to the table. I said no thanks and to stay seated. My back was to her and she said something I missed because of the loud clang of the pot hitting the floor. I heard everyone gasp and I closed my eyes. I knew what had happened, but I didn't want to look. When I did, I just started crying. Hours of work splattered on the floor. Sister-in-law said it was okay, it's just some pasta, I'll buy more. I lost it. I called her a stupid bitch that ruined the entire dinner because she refuses to listen. She started boo-hooing and I told her to shut up and leave. She ran out crying and I sat down to cry too. Our friends consoled me and Hubs tried to say I went too far, but our friends told him he was an arsehole and sister-in-law was in the wrong. They helped clean and we ordered pizza. But after they left, Hubs and I were flooded with calls from his family saying I was a horrible spoiled brat who made their baby cry over some stupid food. Now I'm just crying and feeling like garbage. Did I go too far? I don't usually get so angry or curse. Am I the arsehole? And we have a few edits and an update as well, which we're going to cover in just a moment because I think that's probably the best place for it. Now, whenever dealing with a situation, I always step back and think, is there a better way to deal with it? Was there a better way than turning around and calling her a stupid bitch? And I think, well, yes, there is probably an easier way for yourself more than anything than calling her a stupid bitch. But that's also very easy for me to say. Being here now, looking at it from the outside, having the time to think of a response, etc., etc. It's very easy for me to say. But when you're in the moment, you're heated. This person, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back in this particular situation. From what I'm reading, from what's going on in that first paragraph, she's obnoxious, she thinks she's right above everyone else, even when she's dead wrong, and she's got the stereotypical baby sister attitude, and everyone seems to enable that, and you've just had enough and you exploded in that moment. Was there a better way than calling her a stupid bitch? Probably, But it sounds like everything was too much, everything compiled, it was just too much in that particular moment. And part of me feels, was this done on purpose? We've read many a Reddit post with spiteful people in it who want to ruin certain occasions. It always jumps into my mind now. That's bad, I know, but... And I think what it will come down to is building boundaries for yourself. This person clearly isn't good for you to be around. Again, from the first paragraph, you said a lot about her, why you don't like her, and regardless of what your husband says, she's not good for you, and I think your husband needs to respect that. But Pope Mustard says, not the arsehole. I know how hard it is to make an amazing dinner for just yourself and an SO, but to make a dish and cater to a small party of people is way different, especially since it's people you're cooking with your heart for. Sister-in-law should have taken hints from the context clues of it's a party of our small friends to process that she wasn't invited. I don't give a fuck if she's the youngest of her family. She needs to grow up, and your husband and her family need to stop enabling a shitty personality. Now, if she dropped it, which the post doesn't really clarify if she did or didn't, to me at least, she definitely deserved an outburst. But if it just dropped because you got flustered with a new person, you didn't like being there and didn't make sure it was set properly, then I'd agree maybe you went overboard. A deleted user says, your sister-in-law sounds like an obnoxious moron, but let's not lose sight of it. She meant well. She wanted to help by bringing that food. She stuffed up. Where she got wrong is responding with, it was just some pasta. It was hours of your work. I would have thought she'd apologize and help cleaning up and then buy food and voila, dinner ruined but not completely. Everyone is fed. I got a mate like that. He's just fucking hyperactive and has an attention span of a goldfish. He means well. I keep telling him to stop touching things at times, but it's like minding a toddler. Once you get it, it's not a pain. I did lose it on him a couple of times and felt shit for it, but he apologized for being, well, himself, and I let it go. Don't blame your hubby. He meant well too, and some of your comments were out of line in the heat of the moment. It's life, it's not perfect. Both of you were not at your best. I would apologize for losing my shit, and I think if she isn't a complete arse, she would apologize for ruining the dinner. If not, I'd make a mental note. Run Girl says, you're the arsehole. If someone yelled at my kid like that for spilling food, I would never allow them around again. If an adult yelled at me like that for accidentally spilling something, it would also be out of my life. She didn't mention anything about her doing it on purpose, or even that she knew it was homemade ravioli. This is basic manners 101. Accidents happen. It really sucks that your work went to waste, but spilled food happens. She's annoying for inviting herself, and it's reasonable to address that calmly and directly, but you absolutely were out of line to treat her like you did. You're the arsehole. Ronark says, not the arsehole. As someone who loves to cook for friends and family and loves to make elaborate meals, I'd go ballistic. My reaction would definitely have been worse than yours. It wasn't an innocent mistake. No way. And treating it like one is a mistake. Banana says, 1. Your husband needs to get his act together. 2. You didn't have an outburst because of pasta. You carried around with you small boulders of annoyance and frustration at this child of a sister-in-law, and tonight was a big deal for you. You worked so hard, so of course something small that would normally be easy to brush off was not small nor easy to brush off. Not the arsehole. Hubby though, he's borderline just no SO, right along with his family that coddles that girl. Brian's Echo says, not the arsehole. I'd have kicked her out from the start. Rude of her to show up uninvited, then to ruin the meal you worked so hard to make. So disrespectful. Your reaction was not extreme or too much. It was a standard reaction to someone ruining your work. Don't let your husband or his family manipulate you into feeling bad. Your sister-in-law should feel bad. And one more from Johnny Friendzone, who says, everyone sucks here. I totally get you, but I have a lot of really expensive stuff, instruments at home. If someone tells me they're going to open one of my cases, I'm going to grab them myself. The same when I'm cooking homemade food that took me hours. So then OP went on to their edits, which said, Hub said he understands I'm upset the food was wasted, but he doesn't think my outburst was warranted and was actually kind of extreme. Tomorrow is his day off, and I told him he's going to be making the dish like I did, by hand and on his own, and then at the end, we'll see if he thinks my outburst was unwarranted. Edit 2. Welp. Hubs made pasta for the first time today, and it went much like I'd anticipated. It was all confidence and it'd be easy during the first 30 minutes. But towards the end of the first hour, that disappeared as the burn in his arms really set in from making enough dough for almost 60 ravioli. I did not lift a finger to help him knead since I didn't get any help when I did. After the dough was done and wrapped up in the fridge, he made the filling, which took another 40 or so minutes. Then the dough was brought out and he had to start crafting the ravioli, all by hand after rolling out the dough. Lord, that went on for ages. Just rolling some dough out, cutting out squares, filling them up and putting the top on. Rinse and repeat until the dough and filling was all gone. All in all, the entire process from start to finish for him on his own took a little over 4 hours. And that's with us not actually cooking any of the ravioli. Also, he didn't make any sauce or cook any shrimp for the ravioli to be served in/with. Also, he didn't prepare any salad to go with it. When I told him this, that there was still more to do, he almost started crying. He started saying sorry at the 1 hour mark and hasn't stopped apologizing since. We had a long talk about his sister and the dinner she ruined. The other time she pulled similar incidents. There's a lot, and how him and his family always let her get away with it. He says he knows how they treat her isn't normal and he doesn't like it, but was raised to just go with the flow regarding Ashley. But he said he's going to call her and tell her that we need some space from her for now. Update: Hubs just got the message from his cousin of Ashley laughing and bragging about intentionally spilling the pasta to teach me a lesson for being such a snobby bitch. A handful of you thought she did it on purpose, but I didn't actually think she did until hearing her admit to it. I've never seen my husband this pissed off before. I don't know what's going to happen now. And then there's the final update. Hi everyone, so much has happened since the pasta fiasco, and I'd honestly completely forgotten about this account until this morning. When I logged on, I saw that I had a bunch of requests for an update, so here I am. I'm going to post this as an edit on my original post, but it ended up being way too long. Someone said I should post in the comments, but they're locked, so I decided to just make my own post and put a link to it in the original Am I the Arsehole post, since I'm not sure how to do an official update post on Am I the Arsehole sub. Sorry. So for the update, like I said, a lot has happened since then. I'll try to remember all of it, but be warned, I'm just going to put down everything as I remember it and try to make it in order. But it's been like 4 months, so I may not do it perfectly. Here goes. So sister-in-law bragged to her and Hub's cousin, Brenda, that she ruined the dinner on purpose. Hubs went to confront his family. Sister-in-law denied everything till Hubs played the recording. Hubs banned sister-in-law from our house until she apologized to me sincerely and reimbursed us for all of the wasted food. Sister-in-law went ballistic, sobbing and throwing a massive tantrum until mother-in-law tried calming her down and scolding Hubs for choosing some floozy over your blood family. Hubs apparently flipped and called out his family on their weird babying of sister-in-law, saying they'd made her into a spoiled monster. This just started a huge screaming match between all of them before Hubs said he wasn't speaking to them for the foreseeable future before storming out. That's when he called me and told me to block all of his family, and before I could hang up, I started getting tons of calls and texts from all of them, just saying the most hateful stuff to me. All of my socials, from my personal Insta to my work email, were bombarded with hate until I managed to block all of them. But it took weeks for them to all stop. The only people in Hub's family who weren't harassing us were his paternal grandparents, his maternal grandmother, a few of his cousins on both sides, and his paternal aunts and uncles. Actually, I think all of the hate was from his maternal side, though not all of them. After blocking them, all things were peaceful until a few weeks later. Our friend's Kelly car was vandalized really bad when she stayed at our house for the weekend. I'm talking the sides were keyed, all the tires were slashed, the windows were sprayed, and they even tore off the tag and shoved it down the driver's side door where the window slides down. We checked the doorbell cam and it was sister-in-law and brother-in-law. Seems they mistook Kelly's car for mine. I lent my car to my mum since hers needed new tires and I could use Hubs if needed, since both Kelly and my car are black. Needless to say, we called the cops and Kelly pressed charges on both of them. Thankfully, with the video evidence, she said she was able to make a no-fault claim against Ashley, who had insurance, and Kelly got her repairs paid for, though barely. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law getting arrested caused a huge rift in Hub's family, between those who don't think it was necessary that they be arrested, Most think they should have just paid for repairs out of pocket, and those think they got what was coming to them. Also, the arrest cost brother-in-law his job at a university. Hub's cousin Brenda, who is keeping us in the loop, told us that anyways. We didn't look into it. Brenda also informed us that during the whole family drama thing, it was revealed that Ashley is only their half-sister, according to the maternal grandmother anyways. Seems she'd verbally tore mother-in-law to pieces after mother-in-law insinuated sister-in-law hadn't done anything to deserve this treatment. Brenda said their grandmother said, "You felt bad your husband didn't love her because he knew she was just your shameful affair baby, so you loved her more than your other kids in some twisted effort to make up for it, and you pulled your other kids into doing it too, and all you did was succeed in spoiling her rotten." Brenda told us more, but that part is what really stuck in my mind. Honestly, hearing all of that was unbelievable for me. I had no idea this level of drama was buried in my husband's family. And again, neither did he. And all of this snowballed from a ruined ravioli dinner. Hubs and I have decided to distance ourselves from that part of his family for now. After handing Kelly a copy of the video of sister-in-law and brother-in-law tearing up her car, we more or less washed our hands of dealing with them all. And I've been way less stressed lately. Hubs too, that we both noticed, so not a terrible end. Not sure who will see this update, but I'll be logging out of this account after a while since I think everything is mostly over. Thanks for reading, and extra thanks for everyone who sent me so many kind messages after my first post. It made me feel a lot better. Holy moly, some twists and turns there, and like Opie said, all over a ravioli dinner. But let's face it really wasn't about that. It was a build-up over time of enabling that's caused this family rift, and it sounded like it was always something that was going to happen with ravioli or something further down the road, but then they went to the point of damaging someone's car because of it. Oh, and I'm glad they pressed charges, because what do we always say, guys? Always press charges. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's move on to another little story. And this next story comes from the I Don't Work Here Ladies subreddit. It always reminds me of my days working in market research when I have to go from store to store, so I always like one of these once in a while. This is from Alphabet Blues, who says, "Carrying a comically large stack of clothes, but I don't work here. A wholesome tale. Apologies for any formatting issues. I'm on mobile. Back in the before times, pre-COVID, I went to a department store to pick up some outfits for a friend's wedding. I say outfits plural because in my friend's culture, weddings take place over several days with many different events. I was picking out at least 3 dresses with matching jackets and shawl options, as I wasn't sure what would look good or being considered appropriate and modest. I was too nervous to wear a sari. I've never worn one before, and even though they are beautiful, I'd have no idea how to put it on and take it off. It's not something I would have ever wanted to bother the bride or her family with during her wedding. I must have been carrying 9 or 10 items around the store, with pretty much my entire body blocked by this huge pile of clothes I was going to try on. I'd come straight from work, so I was wearing a white button-down shirt and plain black trousers, and with a giant pile of clothes, it wouldn't be immediately apparent that I wasn't wearing a lanyard and obviously didn't work in there. I was just buying a lot of items. As I was heading towards the fitting room, an older lady, maybe in her 70s or 80s, walked up and asked where she could find one of the jackets I was carrying. At this point, I'd wandered through so many departments of the store, I couldn't remember what area I had picked it up from. I politely explained that I didn't actually work in the store and was choosing items for a friend's wedding. The lady was so sweet when she realized I didn't work there. She profusely apologized for bothering me. She hadn't bothered me at all, and she got a bit teary and said how much she loved weddings. She offered to say a prayer for my friend and her future husband and to wish them a long and happy life together. She even told me which of the dresses I'd picked up she thought would look best on me. A dress in a jewel tone that was a bit brighter than what I'd usually wear, but I did try it on and she was totally right. It looked lovely. Sometimes I think about that sweet lady and hope that she gets to attend many more weddings and joyous events in the future. So, no shoutings, no Karens, no drama. Just a lovely older lady and me carrying a comically large pile of clothes. And you know, After all the chaos that we read time and time again, I love a bit of normality in a story and just a lovely person sharing a genuine interaction with one another. And overall, just a bit of wholesomeness to end our video. But what do you guys make of that? Do you like a bit of I don't work here once in a while? A bit of wholesomeness? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I think it's a wonderful thing. Just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me. You're absolutely incredible at what you do, supporting the channel when you can and getting involved in the comments like I just said and all that good stuff. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today